Hey everybody, how you doing out there? Welcome to week 2. Sorry for the delay on the video, but I had to see who was in the class as I was watching videos and paring down to active participants. We are now settled in. Here are the teams. There's only 3 teams in this class. Please reach out to your colleagues, start the conversations, because the team assignments are pretty hardy, and I want to make sure you're ahead of the game. Once you connect with everybody, one way to do that is underneath Teams. And this is visible to you right now. Go into the folder which represents your team, and you can start a conversation. You don't have to use this as your means of communication after first contact, but I've heard from students it's been helpful to get email exchange, telephone numbers, and so forth. But I've had some teams also use this as their primary way of communicating. It's up to you. I just want to give you a springboard for success in communication. So that's the team aspect. Going back to our landing page, a couple things I want you to think about. One is, as soon as you form your team, you need to assign a project manager. Somebody in your team that is going to have extra responsibilities. One of which, the project manager submits all the work on behalf of the team. I don't want duplicate or the same assignment submitted by several students. Only one person submits for the team. You have to have faith in your project manager, just like you'd have in a working environment. And then I'll cascade the grades to everyone what you earned. But you will be graded down if you submit more than one assignment. I'm pleading with you because it muddies up the grade book if I get more than one assignment from each team. Also, the project manager gives me updates throughout the term when we're doing team assignments. They'll tell me if somebody's missing in action. Maybe the PM reaches out to me and says, Ed hasn't done any work this week. First, don't have Ed's name on that assignment. He didn't do anything. For some reason, I see students historically putting names of students on an assignment when they didn't contribute. Don't do that. Also, Ed will get a 0. Because I'm trying to protect the people that are working the most in the class. But we all signed up for the class. Hopefully everybody contributes equally and there's no problems. Hopefully each week when the project manager reaches out to me, they say, it was a great week. Everybody contributed. We're rock stars. That's cool. But if somebody's missing in action, please tell me. Also, the project manager will tell me if someone is just getting by marginally. They're doing the work, they're part of the team, but they're really not doing anything that is of value. Well, I need to know that too, because I'll give that person a lesser grade. Not a 0, but a lesser grade than the team. Also, please share with me if you're working with somebody that is doing extraordinary work. Maybe you say, Joan is every time pulling the weight, doing the work. Awesome. And I've already talked about the group forums. A bit of coaching. Do not wait for individuals to chime in. If you've scheduled a time as a team to start discussing team assignments and Frank hasn't shown up yet, work with the people that are there. The worst thing that can happen, I've seen this happen in prior terms, is you wait for Frank and he doesn't show up until Saturday at 5, and now you'll have 24 hours to get this assignment done. There should be deadlines. Monday, you start talking. Wednesday, rough drafts are put in by everybody. By Saturday, you're doing a final draft. Sunday, you're submitting. That's how it's ideally managed with great teams I've worked with in the past. I'm here for you. If you are having troubles with your team, reach out to me anytime, and I will manage the best I can from my end. But you need to communicate with me because, again, I don't see everything that's happening in your team because we're an online class. Okay, with that said, go into content. Week 1 is behind us now. The 2 discussion questions have closed. I did give a little bit of grace to folks with grading discussion questions, making sure you clearly understand moving into week 2 that you have to submit 1 original post to both discussion questions you watch and then 2 follow-ups. I'm going to be pretty strict in grading moving forward. And the video introductions, I've already graded. VMCs, I also graded. And if you have any questions about the VMCs, reach out. The biggest concern I saw was you had content, but you didn't have the visual display. Like if you look at Abby's, I showed this before. This is a nice looking document. I don't want an 8.5 by 11 text written document that you do in most classes. Think of yourself as presenting to your supervisor. What's going to be a good work product? Okay, now we're in week 2. Opened up. Again, you have 2 discussion questions, 11 HR trends, 25, 26. You'll see a lot of AI sprinkled in there. Amber's talking about lifting people up while we climb up the ladder. And then business and community. I want you to start thinking about business as a business owner, not just a consumer. I want you to choose someplace you have frequented. I'm trying to make this an easy assignment for week 2, but you are also starting to get into a little deeper into the pool of what business is all about. I want you to address these questions in your work, and I have posted for you 2 really good examples. And again, just like the VMC you did in week 1, it has to have a visual component to it. You can see this is not just a college written paper, balanced with picture, font sizes. This is more of a document that you would showcase. Let's say this student is trying to get funding for her business, this cafe. To the funders, you'd want to produce something like this and not just a written document. We also have Lacey's example you can look at. The other assignment due this week is your Google certifications. You go right here into Google. You have to sign up and go through one of these portals. And they're going to see dozens and dozens and dozens of certifications you can attempt. Now you only have, if you miss, let me back up. If you try a certification and you fail, you can't get back in for 24 hours. So make sure you're ready for the certification. But once you take the certification, what you want to do is send me a screenshot of the certification you received or the score you received to completion. Perfect. Okay. Then you also give me a couple paragraphs of why you chose those two certifications over everything else that's available. I've heard from several students over the last few years since I've been offering this as an assignment. This is a value add because this is something you can put on your resume. You're walking out of this class with 2 Google certifications. So you go ahead and do some research, which one of these really brings curiosity to you. Then you'll find the certifications and go from there. If you have any questions, reach out. That is this week. And then as we get into week 3, you have the legal side of business. And you get the edge of entrepreneurism. We'll talk about that next week in next week's video. I think by week 5, that's when we get, SWAT. That's when we get into teamwork. I wouldn't drag your feet too much. Sure, it's a few weeks away before you start doing teamwork, but the SWAT and also the other assignment coming up after that, your design thinking, this is an incredibly difficult assignment. So you want to start doing some field work with your team now, so when you get there, you're not trying to get through all these phases in the same week. Okay, folks, I'm here for you at any time if you have questions, and I look forward to seeing your work this week. Take care.